Wise Youth Unplugged. We want to give everyone the welcome and thank you all for watching with us. If you haven't already, please share this video, please share this program onto all your social media accounts, to your YouTube, to your Instagram, to your Facebook, and we will have it all on the screen. But today we have an interesting topic, and I actually have two interesting guests today that will be with us talking about this topic with me. And so give it up for, drum roll, Belkiria.
Hello, people.
For Belkiria, say something.
I say hello, people. Hello, people.
Introduce yourself. They don't know you. Okay. I know you.
You know me. Yeah, I'm Belkiria, by the way. You know. But yeah, this is an interesting topic today that we're gonna be talking about. That most people don't know how to, talk to it like the right way. So we're gonna just try to talk a little bit about it.
About our experiences and what we know about it. Mm-hmm. And we also have Ilse in the house. I don't think there's a camera to her. But there's Ilse, and she's gonna be, joining us today. She's doing the controls, but she's gonna be answering some of our questions as well. So the topic is a girls' talk. Of course, we have all girls here. It's a girls' talk, and we're gonna be talking about dating. So we're going to be talking about our experiences with dating, and also testimonies, any testimonies that we may have had, any good experiences, any bad experiences that we may have had dating. And I know we both have those good and bad experiences, so it's a good time to share it, and it's a good time for all of those things. So before we begin, I want to give the opening verse. And so it's Genesis 2:18. That's the opening verse that we're going to begin with. Genesis 2:18. And it says, "Then the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him." So, just by reading this, we know that God created man and woman to be together. Not man and man to be together. Not girl and girl to be together. Not woman and woman to be together. But man and woman to be together. And so, we're going to be talking about all of those things about dating and how you know the right person to choose while you're dating.
The right time
to choose it, and all of those things. So, and I have like a couple of lists, like a little list here that we're going to go by, and we're going to go, with the list on what you should look for when you're dating, on the things that we should look for. And so that's going to be the first part. We also have another exciting part. Y'all see we both have our little Panamanian shirts on. I'm over here, and Belkiria over there with her Panamanian shirt on. I actually had something different on, and then she came and she was like, "Where your shirt at?" And I was like, "Girl, I didn't even think about that." But I literally had to run home. I left like at 2:30. I had to run home, put on my shirt, and then come back. But we're here. So we're having a little Panamanian party, and Ilse is Panamanian today. She's going to be Panamanian today. But, so the last 30 minutes, we're going to bring you all an activity that we want all of you to participate in. And it's going to be really fun. We're going to be bringing some Panamanian culture to the table. So, yep. So be on the lookout, and we really, really hope to see all of you all in the comments, to be, to interact with us and be part of this activity that we really planned, and we really hope that you enjoy. So, let's go ahead and get into what we should look for when we're dating, okay? Here, me and Belkiria are married, so we have experience about it. And then Ilse, she's not married yet, but I'm pretty sure she has some things that she can, share with us about.
Yeah, add in there.
She can add some things in there. So, the first thing that I have on my list is to make sure you are old enough and mature to date. Old enough and mature to date. And now some people may ask, okay, how do I know when I'm old enough? How do I know if I'm mature? And in my opinion, well, first let me ask you, what age do you think that you should start dating?
Based on my opinion and my experiences, I believe that you should start dating when you think that that relationship is going to take you to marriage. Once you start dating with that mentality, and you start dating, well, this is the person I want to be with, and this is the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, that is when you're old enough or mature enough to start dating. if your mentality is not for that, or you're not thinking in that, then I don't think you're not old enough or mature enough. You are just want to go with the flow of being you, and because this person have this, I have to have this. So if your mentality is just to have because your friends around you are dating, then you are not old enough or mature enough to start dating.
And that's a really interesting thing that you said there, because sometimes we go with the flow and we think, oh, and we say, and we say, oh, my friends are doing it, so maybe I'm old enough to do it. But we also have to remember that everyone grows up differently.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone does not have the same maturity that someone else may have. And so if you think that that's the age that this person should be dating, it's probably not, and you're the same age as that person, it's probably not time for you to be dating, because you have two different, lifestyles. You have a different
mindset.
Way of a different mindset, a different way that you grew up. Okay, so Ilse, what age do you think is a good age to date?
Okay, so I agree with her, because I've seen cases where there's like guys who are old, but they're not mature enough.
Mm-hmm.
Or there is like teenagers, but they're mature enough,
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on your mentality and who you want to be with. Don't be with someone just because, you like them. You need to look further than that. You need to see what they could help you with, their maturity.
Okay.
And
Okay. Interesting. So now this is a tricky question that I want both of you all to tell me your opinions on it, because so we didn't give a certain age, and I don't believe that there's a certain age where that is the correct age to start dating, because in African cultures they start getting married at 15, 14 years old.
Yep.
And those girls are prepared because from birth, or from, the age that they're old enough, toddlers and stuff, their parents start teaching them how to cook, how to take care of a man. They see that their parents are, what their parents are doing. African girls, they go and get water for the village. They go and do all of these things. And so at that age, we see, girls getting married 10, 11, 12 years old in their culture, because they're mature at that age.
Yeah.
So it all depends on the culture, I believe, as well, because we can't say, oh, you have to be this age because this is the age that you're going to be mature in. No.
Also depends on about your rules at home, because I know before I get married, all this, my mom had a rule. My rule for my mom was I either had to graduate high school or I had to turn 18, whichever happened first. That was when I was allowed to start dating. Before that, no. So that also depends on, your rules at home and stuff like that.
Okay. But yeah, but that's what I thought about when, we started talking about the ages and stuff, and I was like, but these African girls, they get married super early, and they're mature. They're at the age to get married, even though we look at them and say, that's too young. But in their culture, that's not too young. In their culture, it's the right time to do it. In our culture, it's way too young to get married at 14, 15, because we're not exposed to the lifestyle that they're living. And so that is my answer. I'm not going to say there's a specific age. In our culture, I'm going to give my opinion, even though I didn't follow that whatever I'm going to say, but I feel like, well, I kind of did follow it. Like, when I got into high school is when I started to look at dating differently. Because middle school, everybody want to date. You got like 5 little different boyfriends and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're not, they're not really relationships that you look forward to, for the rest of your life. You just do it for in that.
You just do it because you go with the flow, as being popular or being with your friends, or have a topic to talk with your friends about.
Exactly. So I don't think that I started to look at dating as something serious until I got into high school.
Okay.
When I got into high school, not even the high school, when I got into like 11th or 12th grade, because 9th grade and 10th grade, you just got into high school, you play around, you want to fit in, all this stuff. So I think when it reached to 11th and 12th grade, that's when I feel like the mentality started changing, and you started seeing that, okay, I'm about to be out of school.
I'm about to be out though. I'm about to turn 18. Most people,
exactly,
or stuff like that. what I'm gonna do now.
what's gonna be the next step.
Right,
Like
yeah.
I'm not gonna be living with my
Do I
parents anymore.
want to continue doing this through college, or do I want to settle down now? Stuff like that. You start thinking. Yeah, you really start thinking.
You've been on this earth for 18 years. Like you've already done everything that you could have possibly done, and you know that when you get into that age, when you get into graduating and moving on to the next step out of high school, that's when you start. I feel like that's what I did when I started actually thinking about my life after. When we're in the moment, we don't think about our life after. But once we're there, about to go into the next step, is when we want to start thinking about that stuff. And I think that's when I believe that I was actually mature enough to decide on dating and decide who it is that I'm gonna, give my attention to. And so, yeah, so that's my opinion. I started, so around that age, I was 17, 18 years old. And so that's the age that I'm gonna give, but everyone is different.
Everyone is different.
Everyone is different. So, okay, we're done with that first step. Is there anyone I haven't even opened Facebook or YouTube or anything to look at comments. Who's with us? Who's with us? Let's see.
YouTube is no comments.
Okay, YouTube no comments. Let's look at Facebook. Where are youth pastors at? Where is Pastor and Pastora? Where are them at? I can't. Okay, let me open this here real quick, and then we're gonna move on to the second question. And you all know that you all can comment and do all these things. It'll be great. Okay, so now the next one is very important in my opinion, and it says to make sure you know your identity in Christ. If you know that you won't, if you know that you won't let any man confuse you or make you feel less than what you are or trick you into doing something that God made for married people.
And again, that's when it comes, when maturity takes place. That's where it takes off. Okay, this is what I want and this is what I'm gonna get. I'm not gonna settle down for less than this, or I'm not gonna just go and do this because this train is leaving me or stuff like that. No, when you have the mindset of this is what I want, I'm precious enough, and God created me more than gold and silver and all this, and I'm precious enough to not settle down for this, and this is what I want. This is my list of things that I want to accomplish in my life. And if that person do not fit in your list, or do not help you reach your goals in that list, then probably it's not the right person.
Exactly.
Or the right time either.
Exactly.
So that's my opinion in that subject right there.
Exactly. And then I feel like the experiences that we go through in school and the things that we see that our friends go through, it teaches us on how we should look at who we date, or how people function, or how men think. And we don't know, how men think, but we can tell by the way that they treated our friends or that they treated us, and that's where experience comes in. Experience has to do a lot with maturity. Like, you can't say that you're mature and you haven't experienced
nothing.
You haven't experienced anything. Like, you can't be locked in a room and be like, oh, I'm mature, and you haven't experienced heartbreak, you haven't experienced all of these things, not being able to, maybe not having the best shoes or not having the best clothes. You can't say that you're mature. You haven't experienced anything that isn't shaking you up on the inside.
That experience is called unlearning, pretty much. So once you start learning from your mistakes or your faults or your experiences, Kathleen was saying, then there is where okay, I'm mature now because I already experienced this. I have learned my experience from this. I have learned that when I fall this way, I had to take the next step. I can't keep going this way because it didn't do me good this way. So that. Look at it like a learning experience. Like you are learning something from it. Adriana said she's here, and Alicia said hey.
Hey, Pastora Adriana, and hey, Alicia. Thank you for being here with us. We hope that you all will participate in our little activity that we got in about 30 minutes. It's already 3:17. Look at the time. 20 minutes already talking. Anyways, but yeah, so I feel like I've had a lot of experiences with in my life and also with the lives of the people that are beside me, because you learn from the people that are around you.
Yeah.
You learn, and that's why it's good to have friends. You know, some people be like, oh, I don't want friends, but it's good to have friends because you learn and you can be able to give them advice on what they should do different. And so, okay, so I said that if you know that you won't get confused, okay, identity is not knowing. It's knowing yourself and knowing who you are in Christ. So you should know why you are on this earth. You should know the purpose why for the which you are on this earth and what you came to this earth to do.
Mm-hmm.
So now when you know that purpose and when you know that you are separated as a child of God, you are not going to let any little boy get into your head.
Yeah.
You are not going to let that happen.
Yeah.
And so, but, you know, I don't want to speak bad about boys, but I mean, we're having a girls' talk, so, sorry. But most of the boys in middle school, in high school, they are not thinking about getting married.
Listen, sometimes they even turn 18 and they're not even mature enough still. Boy, seriously, and Adriana, help me out here in the comment. Boys mature way later than women's. There is a scientific fact that men mature way more late than women's. Right, Adriana? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, so that is like a scientific fact. So sometimes when men think, oh well, you could turn 18 now, and you be like, okay, I'm gonna find an 18-year-old. Guys, he probably have the same mindset that I have.
He's 18, but his mindset is 15 years old.
Yeah, you be like, no, you know what? Let me go ahead, cause you know he's 18, I'm 18. We both gonna have the same goals. And when you get there, you be like, no, wait, what's going on?
What are you thinking? Where are you? And that's what happened.
He said, they mature later than us.
Yeah, it's true. They do. And but then there's two sides to that story, because sometimes they mature later than us, but there's sometimes that we look for boys that are way older than us.
Yeah.
And that should never happen. And I'm not gonna say never happen, because I know of people that are married with people that are 10 times their age or 15 times their age.
Yeah.
And you know, it's different with them. So it all depends on the type of person, the type of way that they grew up, how, you know, they were at home. So
yeah, and then your list that you had when you was planning your life, if that person fit in right in there. Yeah,
exactly.
But that's that kind of person. And then we got this kind of person who, you know, want to be with somebody closer than your age, but still mature enough to have your right mindset.
Exactly. They should match you. Okay. Not match you, because of course we're not going to be all the same, but you should have the same goals and almost the same mentality. So another part, well, the point, we're on the same topic, but it's just the three little things that I said under that topic that I want to emphasize on. And the other one says, make you feel less than who you are. No one. And I repeat, no one. You should never be dating anyone that makes you feel unconscious about yourself or makes you feel like you're less than anything or uncomfortable. That should never happen. The
person
person
feel like you had to change something about you to fit in their category.
Exactly.
Whatever they are looking for.
Exactly.
You should not change for nobody. If you, at one point of your life, you want to change something, make it be something that you want to change about yourself, because it make you feel better, not because it makes somebody else's feel better.
Exactly. They should accept you for who you are. They should not want to come and change you, or they should not want to come in and basically say things to you to make your self-esteem get lower. Like, no, that person should be the one that tells you you're beautiful. That should be the person that makes you lift up and tells you, oh, I like the shirt that you're wearing, or I like this. And you know, we're not saying that that's all that they have to do, but that person should just never make you feel like you're just bad, or you're just not in the expectation that they want. So that's where that's that. And then the last one, and the one that always happens and we see a lot of girls get caught up in this one, and it says trick you into doing something that God made for married people. And you know, I made it sound nice, but you all know what we're talking about. And so that should be something that y'all should look at. That should be something that you take note of and see how they react around that topic. And I'm gonna say it because there's some people that probably don't know what we're talking about. If a man wants to have sex with you, okay, if he wants to have sex with you and that's not what you want, don't do it.
That's not a person.
Don't do it, and that's not the person. And then if y'all heard the little song that we put in the beginning, it says que espere, si te quiere, que espere, okay? And you have to have that you have to put your foot down in that topic, in that area. You got to put your foot down. You can't let him put words into your mouth or make you do something that you know is not wrong. I mean, it's right.
Also, something that the song was saying is that if you let them wait, time will reveal their true intentions.
Exactly.
So time is what will actually let you know where that person's heart is, or where that person's intentions is, or where that person's mindset is. Just given time. Just because we started dating now, in 2-3 days, he's like, oh my God, he's the best thing in the world. And then you follow it, and then 3 months later or 4 months later, you be like, what did I get into?
And then that goes on. Well, this is what I'm gonna say is about marriage, and that goes with our married life.
Yeah.
Like, when we started dating our husbands, or our boyfriends at the time, we were like, okay, he's the best man in the world. I love this about him. And then once we get married
and start moving in together, you'll be like, you do know that bothers me, right? Why you keep doing it?
And so that's the funny thing about it, and I feel like that's the beautiful thing about it as well. Like, everything is not all sugar plums and cherries, no,
flowers
and stuff. No, when you start arguing and start going in is when in the moment it's not funny, but after
it's funny
after you're like, okay, did we really just argue about this? But yeah, so. And then I have a couple of verses here that I'm going to send in the group chat. I'm not going to go over all those verses. I'm going to send it not in the group chat, in the comments on YouTube and Facebook, so you all can, look at it. Because the goal of this is to basically share what we've experienced and shared what we've gone through in order for our young girls that are not married and young men that are not married, if they're watching, to not make the mistakes, and to know how to choose the person that you should be dating. And not to make, any mistakes on that area. Because the person that you will marry is the most important decision in your life.
Yeah, one of those. Because you make a decision about what I want to be, what I want to study, or you make those decisions that also impact your life.
Exactly.
So the person you want to spend the rest of your life with also influencing that decision. You know what I'm saying? That go into that list of important things that you want to do. You want to take your time to think about the person you want to be. You want to take the time to, think about it. Think about that person that is going to be there for you. That you know you can count on, regardless of if you have good days or bad days. Exactly. Or if you feel for it or you don't feel like, whatever it is. You have that person who will support you in whatever decision you want to make, or is going to be with you regardless of anything.
Exactly. So, what was I saying before? I have the anointing of our pastors. But, let's see if it's time for a little activity. Okay, we got a couple more minutes until our activity. We're starting at 3:30. We're going to have a little break, and then we're going to start our activity. So, during this break, we want you all to comment below. Well, the instructions are going to be on the screen once we go into the break. So I want you all to comment and participate in this activity. When we come back from the break is when we're going to answer these questions. Okay, so before we go into that, I'm going to cover one more point, because that's 1, 2, 3, and then the last couple minutes we're going to do 4, 5, and 6. So number 3 says, pray and present to God the things that you want in that man. And I feel like that is one of the most important parts, and I didn't really pay attention to this, to praying and presenting to God until I heard our pastora, and she was talking about that even at an early age, like she was like 10 or maybe 10 or 11 years old or something like that, and she would pray to God about how she wanted her man to be at that age. And I was like, what? I didn't grow up in that, and I didn't really grow up in the church like that, so you know, I wasn't praying for how I wanted this man. Like, I was just...
But you probably was thinking about how you wanted your man.
Exactly.
You was dreaming about your blueprint or whatever. You was thinking about, oh, it had to be white with blue eyes.
Right. I mean, we all have our taste, and we all, you know, like what we like. But when she said that, it really, like, you know, made me think. And if I would have done that earlier, you know, I probably would have avoided a lot of dating that I did that was dumb. That was
we
stupid.
didn't include as like a relationship or dating.
Exactly, that, you know, it didn't help us at the end. And so I feel like that's a really, really important part. You should pray. You should ask God.
Alicia have a question.
Yes.
Alicia said, does everyone have that someone or some people meant to just get married? Okay, wait. Does somebody have that someone or some people meant not to get married? Well, everybody should have that someone because God created marriage. God in Genesis, He said that go get married and reproduce and all this extra stuff. So God's goal was for us to fill earth, and to able to do that, we have to get married to procreate. We can't procreate out of marriage. You see, we can't do that.
Or with a woman if we're a woman, or with a man if we're a man.
Yeah. So if we're gonna procreate and we're gonna follow God's rule of filling earth with babies, we have to get married. So if we have to get married, of course God created everyone to get married because that was His intention when He created us.
And of course, there's some people that are, what's it called? Enuco, I don't know how to say it in Spanish.
What?
These people will never get married. And there's some in the Bible, like Paul.
Okay.
Paul never got married. Jesus never got married.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some people that's just the purpose for why they are on this earth. Like, God just brought them to fulfill His purpose and to not worry about, you know, getting married. And so, you know, we can't, it's all what God decides. Like, we can't, you know, say, oh, everyone is gonna get married. No, because there's some people that don't get married because they want to fulfill the purpose of God. And so, yeah, if we answered your question, let us know. It is 3:29. Did we finish the pray and present to God topic? Oh yeah, so when you pray, you know, you ask God, this is how I want Him to be. Of course, you're not gonna tell God that you want this person to be a fairy tale character and to treat you like a princess all the days of your life, and put your shoes on, take it off.
Sometimes we do not even act like princess. Sometimes we don't. We're gonna keep it real. Sometimes we do not. Sometimes we are mad. Our faces do not show us faces as princess.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And especially when it's that time of the month. Don't talk to me. Leave me alone, please. So, you know, don't pray, but be cautious of what you're praying about. Like, you know, don't expect all these fairy tale things, or, you know, things that we hear in movies and stories. No, you gotta say, okay, God, I want this man to fear God. I want this man to put God above all, you know, above everything. Because if God is his authority and he follows God, of course everything under that will fall into place.
Yeah.
So you have to get a man that knows his identity and knows who he is in Christ, so that he can have Christ on top, him at the bottom, and then you and your kids will follow. Okay? So, I think it's time for our little break. We're going to put our activity on the screens, and I want you all to comment what these things are.
hablamos después.
Que espere, si te quiere que espere, déjalo que desespere, que si se marcha tenía otra intención. Que espere, si te quiere que espere.
Cero compromiso y cero boda.
Cuidado con la desesperación de los buitres que andan rondando. Mantente firme en tu posición.
Me va a dejar esperando.
Que espere, si te quiere que espere, déjalo que desespere, que si se marcha tenía otra intención. Que espere, si te quiere que espere, déjalo que desespere, el tiempo muestra lo que hay en el corazón. Pues fácil se conocen, se ponen la mejor ropa del closet, rumba donde ellas entran gratis antes de las 12 o toda la noche, llenita, bajitas, altas o flacas. El tipo no escatima y pa' frontearse con una vaca de unos pesos. Lo hacen en momentos oportunos, pero solo uno es de 20 y los demás son dos de uno. Y en remojo ya tiene varias y con paso cojo sigue dando ronda, está desesperado, brotan los ojos de su cara. A ver con cuál de todas se acapara. Lo consulta con el pon y las compara. Se embriaga y coge vuelo, te baja todas las estrellas del cielo. Busca presa que le caiga en el anzuelo. Ya le falta poquito, como no tiene nada en el poquito, pa' que te pregunte ¿cuál es tu color favorito? Y tenga tusa, lo mismo que él le dijo a 10 mujeres, también viene y te lo dice, demuéstrame que me quiere. Que espere, si te quiere que espere, déjalo que desespere, que si se marcha tenía otra intención. Que espere, si te quiere que espere, déjalo que desespere, el tiempo muestra lo que hay en el corazón. No te asombres que después el barrio se sepa tu nombre. A ti te desacreditan, pero a él lo hace más hombre. Una noche será noticia entre los amigos. A todos les cuenta que fue lo que pasó contigo, que la gata quedó sata. Así es como te trata, pero Dios no te creó para estar soportando ratas ni esa lata. Tú no eres una cosa barata. Dios te hizo más valiosa que el oro y que la plata. Y al final, si tienes a alguien que te trata mal y le tocas la trompeta del chacal, la mejor prueba de amor te la mostraron en la cruz. ¿Quién lo hizo? Un hombre llamado Jesús. Si te piden una prueba de amor, cuidado que por ahí está de moda. Tan solo buscan lo exterior.
Cero compromiso y cero boda.
Cuidado con la desesperación de los buitres que andan rondando. Mantente firme en tu posición.
Me va a dejar esperando.
Que espere, si te quiere que espere, déjalo que desespere, que si se marcha tenía otra intención. Que espere, si te quiere que espere,
All right, y'all, we are back. We are back. So I hope you all commented, and I don't see no comments, so I'm kind of,
Disappointed?
kind of disappointed. 'Cause, we really worked on this. Anyway, so we're about to get on this. So the question was, what do y'all think these Panamanian slang words mean? Okay, so we have a whole bunch of words here. I'm not even gonna count them, probably like 10 of them on the screen, and y'all were supposed to comment what y'all think these slang words mean.
I'm gonna go to Facebook and see somebody comment on Facebook.
So the point of it is to basically bring some Panamanian culture. Yeah, to bring some Panamanian culture to the table and stuff. So, anyways, we're just gonna go ahead and do it. So the first one is que sopa. Ilse, what you think que sopa means?
Mhm.
Like, what do you mean? Is that what it means?
No.
She was kind of close. It don't mean what do you mean, but it means like what's up. Mhm.
What's up?
Hey, like I walk in the room and I say que sopa. Like that's
okay.
the way of me saying it. It sounds like what soup? What soup? So yes, y'all need to comment. We're going through these words, but I want y'all to guess what it is. Alicia, what you think it is? Pastor Elena, what you think it is? Pedro, what you think it is? Cause he here. It says Pedro right here. I see him. So so the next one is estoy limpio. You say, well, you're gonna be the one that's gonna be guessing, cause nobody else saying anything.
Estoy limpio. I'm chilling. Oh my
Not
God.
even close though.
No. Estoy limpio. Say it in a sentence. Well,
That's a sentence
That's
right
it.
there. Yeah, that's a sentence right there.
Estoy limpio.
Damn, and I'm supposed to be Panamanian for a day. Thoroughly.
Adriana said no tengo dinero. You're right, Adriana.
Okay.
I'm broke.
I'm broke. Estoy limpio. I don't have nothing. I don't got nothing.
I'm broke.
Okay, the next one. Mopri.
Oh my God.
Mopri.
Okay, that one I'm not even trying. That one's hard.
She said that was hard. I didn't even try that. Go ahead.
Primo. Cousin. Yeah. They just flip it. I don't know why they do that, but they just flip it. If you put it right away, it's gonna be primo. There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
What? I never even looked at it like that. What? It literally has all the words of primo, literally.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Chuleta. Or we don't even say chuleta. We say chuleta. Like chuleta.
Cute, pretty.
Wait a second. No, well, that's all. This sentence.
Yeah.
Chuleta. Okay, chuleta is like, dang.
Okay.
Like, dang, something just happened to me, or dang, this happened. So that's what chuleta means. And we got mierco. Yeah, mierco. Okay, it's the same thing. If anybody in the comments, she's saying ha 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 ha. And then we got Ofi. Ofi.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Okay. You've been doing good. You say it's a true benefit. Okay, buco.
It smells like something you say like something. Stop it.
No.
It kind of sounds like what I've heard it here, and they say buco. I think, the slang Atlanta words. I think they say buco. I don't know, or maybe another word, New York, something like that. But buco means a lot.
I didn't say official. No, it's not being official there.
Yeah, no. It's like buco, like put it in a sentence, like,
Esa cosa tiene buco. Like, it have a lot.
yeah.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what buco means. Okay? Pelao. Okay. Y'all use that one? Or they say peladito too.
Oh, yeah, peladito.
Sometimes
O peladita o pelaya.
Right. Okay.
Then we got chanting.
Shanting. I forget that one. Shanting.
I really want to wait for Adriana to answer for that one.
She answered, what, 2 of them already?
I know, I want her to answer chanting. I want to see what she's thinking about.
Okay, let's put it in we got Chaselle's mom on Facebook over here answering. It doesn't count. You're Panamanian. You can't do it. I'm just like, but she over here answering them. Anyway, she said, yeah, Rihanna said Shanti. Yeah, that's the one. But Shanti, let's put in a sentence.
What about chanting?
That's a sentence. What about Shanti?
Me voy para chanting.
Well, looks like she's not gonna reply. Oh well, Chaselle's mom. Remember I told you she lit over here, casa. That's what Shanti means. Like, oh, I'm going to the house, or I'm going to your house, something like that. Okay, we got 2 more. Palo and tasalado.
You said it's at a place. It's a specific place.
Yeah, your house. Okay, so palo. I didn't even know this one, so I didn't know. That was new for me.
In a sentence, what do you say? It's called palo or no?
No, you would say tengo un palo.
No. I mean, yes, you can, because it's going to be a singular. But yeah, you could use it like that.
Okay, use it in a plural way.
Oh, you could use it as tengo 20 palos.
Money.
Money, right. When she said it, I was like money, but when I read it, I was like, what is that? Like, okay, so palo. And
Palo
then
go to $1. So,
Okay.
she said, Chaselle's mom said, es el lenguaje crudo de panameño. Del panameño, the raw language. So, and then the last one is estás salado.
Like you're salty, you're mean.
no le va bien. So like basically when you bad luck, or like not bad luck, literally bad luck, but like when things are just not going the way that you want, like everything is always bad happening to you is what that means. Like let's say you had a bad day. Yeah, you had a bad day.
I'm gonna have to bring somebody else. Let's do that. That's not fair.
The next girl's star we gonna have Ilse at the table. But yeah, so that's the end of our little Panamanian slang version thingy. We're gonna get back to the topic of dating. We have about 15 minutes to talk with you all. So who is this person called Boyle? Who is Boyle? Can you put your name please? I wanna talk to you. Because I just see them commenting, but I don't know who it is. I think it's you. So it just sounds like it just sounds like. Anyways, so let's get back on topic. Remember to not answer your questions. Ask questions if you have any questions. We're gonna cover 3 more points, and then after that, we'll be done. We really hope that all of these points are helping you be able to decide who it is that you're gonna be dating. And we were supposed to be talking about our testimonies too, but maybe for the next girl's talk. But yeah, so the 4th point is, and I kind of think this is kind of one, it goes under one of the ones that I've already said, but it says if you believe in Jesus and fear God, the person you are trying to date should be the same, should believe and fear God as well, because they're not going to understand your lifestyle. And most likely you're going to end up being dragged to their lifestyle. Exactly. Instead of them coming to your lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And then that's something that I want to testify about, because I had a boyfriend in high school, and that was literally he was my boyfriend for about 4 or 3 years, but it was on and off 4 or 3 years. I think in that same time span, I probably had like 3 other boyfriends. But that was, my longest relationship before my husband. And when I first started coming to Abridores del Camino, once you start coming to church and once you have the mentality of that you want to change and you want to do better and, you want to seek God more, people don't understand that. So he started seeing that, I wasn't doing, things that I did before, or, I wanted to be more involved in God things and not go to any parties, not, do these things that, you do in the world. And he started seeing that, and he started saying, oh, you're changing. Oh, you're different. Oh, what's happening? And, when it got to that point, I understood, okay, I'm not going to be able to bring you to the lifestyle that I want to change into, and you're not going to let me change. Yeah. So that's when I understood, okay, even though we were in this relationship for so long, and it was hard to let it go, because it was 4 years, like that's 4 years. You invested your time with that. That's 4 years. And, even though it was hard to let go, you have to think about your future. If you want to change for the better, and someone does not want you to change for the better, you have to leave it. Yeah, it's not the right person for you, or the right fit for you. And so I started seeing that, and that's what, made me let it go. And some people will stick around and try to change the people, but I already saw that, you didn't want to live that same lifestyle that I wanted to integrate myself into. And I found myself, doing things that I didn't even want to do because you didn't want to change. You get what I'm saying? I got you. And so I believe that that's a very, very important part. And that's why I thank God that I found when I met Jason, he was not in church. He knew, they knew about church, they knew about Jesus, all this stuff, but he wasn't in church. And when I met him, we started talking, and then I invited him to church. And he came to church. And when he came to church, he stayed in church. You get what I'm saying? Like there's sometimes relationships that you bring them to church and stuff, and you just don't see the connection. They just come because you told them to come. Because you tell them to come. Yeah. But I actually saw that when he came to church, he wanted to change as well. You get what I'm saying? He saw that God was calling him to change, and he saw that God was calling him to stay in that place. And that's really what opened my eyes and made me realize, okay, this is this is part of what I'm looking for in the man that I want to marry. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that kind of like, pushed me toward more to be on this side with this person and leave that side of that person that is not wanting me to change. And it made me realize that this person wants to change with me and not try to change me. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
And so that's, I feel like that's a really, really important part. And I have experienced that. So I hope you all take this advice because it's really, really important. Don't try to find someone that is outside in the world over here doing stuff that you are not doing and think that you're going to change them. Because no one changes unless they want to change.
That's true.
Honestly. You can't change anyone if they don't want to change. You can't change anyone if they still want to live their life. You can't. So that's that point. So the next one. Wow, 10 minutes. Jesus. 1 more hour. Anyway, so number 5 says, when you're dating, this is your chance to examine your partner, ask questions, see how they react in certain situations, see how they think, see how they treat their parents. By knowing these things, you can see if the relationship can keep going or if you should leave it there. And that's another part. You have to examine. In that time of dating, and I learned that now. I learned that after I was married. Well, not after I was married. When I was in the process of marrying my husband, I learned that because in my past relationships, I didn't examine nobody. I didn't see how you treated your mama. I didn't see how you reacted in tough situations until it actually happened.
But those things actually do matter because you gotta, if that person does not treat their moms right, believe it, they're not gonna treat you right. Because if they can't respect their own mom, then they'll not know how to respect you. You see what I'm saying? If they don't work good under pressure and making big decisions on their own personal life, they will not do it while they have to think for two persons. Exactly. Or make a decision as a one. So those things really matter. You gotta see the person and say, well, he really knows how to probably manage a home or manage finances. He know how to go when there is problem. He know how to solve it. He don't freak out and stuff like that. Those things are actually the things that you gotta look out when you start dating. Those things, because they really do matter. And once you go into marriage and you start living with the person, you will see take place whenever you need it to take place, and it's gonna make your life much easier. Exactly. And so instead of being like, okay, I'm waiting this relationship by myself. I'm driving and you're in the passenger seat.
Exactly.
It feels like you both will actually drive.
And instead of being in the passenger seat watching what I'm doing, or making sure I'm not falling asleep or something, you over there asleep. Like, what?
Yeah. So instead of having that person who falls asleep, will not even put music to keep the road going. You have somebody that will say, you know what? I see you tired. Let me take over. Stuff like that.
Exactly. And so the other point that I have here is see how they react in certain situations, and it's under the same point that we're talking about. See how they react in certain situations. And I feel like this part is so important when it comes to knowing if you're entering into an abusive relationship.
You gotta look for those red flags.
Exactly.
All red flags.
Exactly.
And they are really important. Sometimes a guy will do something and you will not interpret it as a red flag. But the signs were there. And then once you get married and you get a marriage and stuff like that, it start growing. It starts manifesting. It starts growing because no, it's only you and him. It's only you two in the house. So it starts manifesting and you be like, but I didn't see it. Yes, you did. You choose to ignore it. You gotta look out for those red flags.
Exactly. And that's really, really an important part because some people enter abusive relationships and be like, oh, he wasn't like that before. Just like you said. It was always there. You just didn't pay attention to it. And so, and a lot of young people, they get caught up in those type of relationships and abusive relationships because, again, going back to our first point, they don't know their what? I word, Ilse, Belkiria, I word, they don't know their what? Their what blank in Christ? Identity! Yes! And they get caught up in those things because they don't know their identity in Christ. They don't know their purpose for why they are on this earth, and they don't know who's their father, which is God. So if you know that God is your father, you're not gonna let no man hit you. You're not gonna let no man verbally abuse you, and you're not gonna let no man make you feel less than who you are.
And then sometimes I also hear this expression, I go, oh, if he raised his hands at me, I'm gonna raise it back. No, that's not a relationship. That's not a good relationship. No, get out of it.
Right.
Because you guys should not be putting your hands on each other. So if you raise your hands at you, it's not like, oh, I know how to defend myself. No, if you raise your hands at you, that means that's not a person to be with. And then it goes the other way around. Because sometimes the girl that is usually the one who raises their hands on guys, and guys are not raised to raise their hands on another one. But, it go either way, for boys and girls, for those who are watching as well. It go either way.
And then something that my mom always told me when I was growing up, and I never listened until I got, to the age where, I started experiencing those things. You were right, Mom. Like, we all get to that point where we were like, you were right, Mom. And I wish that we weren't so hard-headed at that time.
But, that's your gene as a Jew. When you're growing up, you don't want to listen. You just want to do it.
And that's why we experience a lot of the stuff that we experience.
And we should have it easier.
Exactly.
Because we have our mom's models. For example, I grew up in church, so I have Jew pastors, I have Jew leaders. So most of the mistakes that I did, I should have never
did it. Right.
Because I grew up in church and I knew better. You see what I'm saying? I knew better. And then now I'm sitting here trying to explain this to other people, and most likely some of them also is going to be a Belkiria. They're going to do the same thing. They're not going to listen. And then when they turn my age, they'll be like, you know what?
I should have listened. I should have listened. And I feel like we all go through that stage where you're like, I should have listened. And but I feel like that's part of how our experiences are built. Like that's what builds our character. So, that's really funny. And so, I was saying something about my mom teaching me something.
That you didn't listen?
Oh, I remember. So, my mom used to always tell me, you know how sometimes, like, we want to play fight with our little crushes and stuff, and, like, you saying you play fighting, but you really, like, hitting them and they hitting you back, like, and she would be like, don't do that. Like, don't do that, because if they give you a bad hit or if they hit you bad, you're going to get upset. And I used to always do that. Always do it. And, I don't even know. I used to always do it, but... Oh! Never mind. Just forget it. Okay, forget it. Let's see. See how they treat their parents. They don't cover that. See how they treat your parents. You should see how they treat their parents. If they're attentive to their parents, if they're attentive to their mother, if there's a man, if he's a boy and he's attentive to his mother, he's going to be attentive to you. And we're not going to say that at all times, because there's some people that they love their moms, but they don't love you. They don't love you. So we can't. Everything the Holy Spirit reveals everything. So you just have to have a good relationship with God and have sensitivity to the Spirit, so that
be open to when that God tell you it's not the one.
Exactly.
Be mature enough to accept it. Because some people be like, okay, but I still want him. No, if you are seeking God for answers, if God will give you the answer, please take the answer.
Don't try to be like, give me a sign.
Please do not let it give you the answer. Give me a sign.
No. Okay, so if y'all have any questions, remember that we're here to answer questions. We have a couple more minutes. Wow, 3:56 now. Okay, and the last one,
and we kind of covered that one right at the beginning of it.
Yeah, but we don't really elaborate on it.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is part of the next thing that we're gonna say is part of the way that I thought remember we were talking about when I reached 17 and 18, when I started thinking about the future, around high school is when I started to think about this. And so this last topic says, date to marry, not date to date. And so in this little area, basically, when you're dating, you should look forward to marrying that person, or think about marrying that person, not just dating. Oh, let me just pass the time, or let me just do something just because I'm bored.
No. And But usually with girls, it's easier to think about it because when you're growing up, we all think about getting married, walking on the aisle, wearing a white dress. We
Exactly.
all think about it. We all do. As growing up, that's all something that we see it in movies, we see it here. They paint it up so pretty in books, and they do. And then we grow up with that. Men really don't. That really don't do that. But so once you turn like 17, 18, it's where you more take place to it. It's when you be like, you know what? Growing up, I wanted this. No, how do I get this? And you start thinking about who do I want to go this with? Who do I want to get with? So once you get there, it's when you start, you know that you are going the right path to start thinking.
Exactly. And I feel like, like I was saying in middle school, nobody is, well, I wasn't thinking about dating to marry. No, I was dating, and that's it. Like nobody, I didn't see myself being with those people for the rest of my life. And that goes back to what I was saying. When I reached high school is when I started thinking. Okay, and that's why.
At the beginning of the high school. Not even at the beginning, because I was like you. I started dating my husband now when I was 17. Remember my mom was when I was 18.
When you were 18 or when you graduated?
But I didn't follow the rule. So it didn't happen. I was 17, but I was in my last year. I was like 6 months into graduating. That's when he started dating. And he's my husband now. But thank God he was mature enough when he started dating me, because that was one of the things that he actually told me when he asked me. He said he didn't want a child's relationship. Right. His hot word was, I want to be with you and I want to marry you. That was the way he asked me out. So once you listen to the words, I'll be like, okay, this you on a different level. No, he's on a different level. He's 1 year older than me, so he was 19 or 18 at the time. Trust me, there's no 18-year-old guy that think like that. No, there's no way. Sometimes you can find one or two, but not all of them do 18. So, but that's one of the things that I usually, make me say yes to person.
And so, back to that, and I feel like when I realized that in high school, that's why my longest relationship was in high school. My longest relationship was, 4 to 3 years, and it happened in high school because I realized, okay, all these little boys that I dated, whatever, but now I'm getting to an age where I'm growing up, I'm getting older.
And so you get heartbreak. So
exactly.
No, usually in high school is when you start like, that's the one. That is definitely the one. And you start thinking about you're 14, you're 15, and you start investing time because, he is the love of my life. And stuff like that. And then your spirit hurt, exactly. Stuff like that. And then it's like you invested what, 4 years? 3, 4 years. Yeah.
That's a good job, And so once you get tired of, everything that you've experienced and all the heartbreaks, because if you're dating a lot of people, of course you're going to have a lot of heartbreaks. You know what I'm saying? And so, and then I realized, okay, I'm going to date to marry. It didn't work out with that person, but the next relationship was date to marry. I'm not going to be playing games with you. Like, if you want to be with me, you got to be with me through the change that I want to do, and you can't take me back to that change, to go back to the stuff that I said that I wanted to change it. And I feel like God have mercy. Because there's people that literally get married at 30-something, 40-something, 50-something years old because they don't find the right one. And I actually have a friend like that. She literally just got married, I believe, if it was not this February, it was last February. And she is 31. And, she always, even though when I get engaged, she was like, where is mine? No, and I really thank God for that, because I don't have to, and I'm not saying struggle, but I don't have to be out there trying to find that person, because I already have that person. And I have it at an early age, so I can be able to enjoy it more and more years because I already have it.
And something else that I want to add there, sometimes guys, they just don't want to commit. They really know what they want, they just don't scare to commit. Because also I met a couple for a long time. Trust me when I said they was dating for a long time. They both were dating and they did not get married until they was around 40 years old. And they was dating for the longest.
At least they got married though, because that's something, and I feel like that's something generational, and that's something in our culture as
Listen, and they both was a church. There was leaders, youth leaders, and stuff like that. They was in church. They knew better. Hopefully, I hope they do know better. But they didn't get married until they was 40. Yeah. So.
But yeah, and I thought about it as well. I feel like that's part of, something that's in our culture as Panamanians, because if you look, and I'm not going to say all of them, but most of them do not get married. Most of them are living in the house years with their boyfriends, and they call them de que mi marido. No. No.
And then it's your boyfriend. And then when you know when you marry, you be like, mi marido. No, you do not say mi marido because that sounds ugly. You gotta say my husband. But when you get married, they say, declaro marido y mujer. So why you mean? Why you mean? And they be like, don't say that. That's for people who live together but not married. No, when I get married, they say, declaro marido y mujer. So that's my marido.
I have changed the meaning of the word. But, and then that's something, that we have to break. And if that runs in our family, we have to break with that generational curse. Because, like, there's curses that want to keep you living with people that are not your husbands and keeping you without getting married.
And sometimes you with a person, it's not even the right person you want to be. It's not even your person. You're there, you're living with that person, you have 4 or 5 kids with that person. You think, hey, you know what? It's a person, right? But it's really not a person. No, you invested all this time and all this skill with this person, and then you go to church, and this person, then you realize, hey, he don't want to change. So he's not my person. And no, you're over here trying to find your person, but it's too late. You already invested all your time in this person that you didn't take your time to think, plan, and ask God for it.
And then the last thing I want to say before we end, we've already gone past our time, but it's okay. I want to say something with, the testimony that I had to endure when I was getting married. That was really, it was really not hard, but it was really a mind-changing experience. None of my family members have gotten married. And that's, my grandmother isn't married, the grandmother before, my grandmother's mother never got married. I think it's only one person in my family that has gotten married. Well, 2 people have gotten married. One divorced, and then the other one, she's still with her husband. My mom never got married until now, until this time. And so I grew up in, a household and around family members that were not getting married. They lived with people and never married.
Like their family and stuff like that.
And so, like, my mentality was, I'm not getting married. Like, when I was in middle school and high school, I'm like, I'm not getting married. Like, I'm not getting married until I'm like 40-something, 50-something, and that was the mentality. And then, but when I started learning about, all of these things, my mentality started to change. And I was like, I have to break with this curse because it's a curse. I'm not going to be living with somebody that's not my husband and investing all of this time, and then you just leave. No, that's not how I'm going to live my life. And I feel like this ministry has really blessed my life. Abridores del Camino has literally like it really has blessed my life, because I started looking at life on a whole different perspective and on a whole different, in a whole different way. And so, if you have a family or if you're part of a generation like that, you see that none of your aunts, none of your uncles, none of your sisters have gotten married, then I feel like you should, or not I feel, you should. You need to break that generational curse and do better. Be the example for your generation.
Do that domino effect, and you'll be that person who step out of that domino effect.
Exactly.
Keep it going.
Exactly. And do a better domino effect, a successful domino effect. And so with that decision, and you got to think about your future as well. With that decision, I know that the day that I have children, my children can't say my mom never got married. And so they don't have an excuse not to get married. You get what I'm saying? Because you see an example.
You got an example, yeah.
And so that's what I wanted to put in your hearts. I really hope that this really has blessed you all's lives. If you have any questions, even after we finish the program, please ask. Let us know. And we really hope that this really blessed your life. That is all. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Wise Youth Ministry. We're here in Wise Youth Unplugged every Saturday at 3, so keep on tuning in. I think next week we're going to have, maybe our youth pastors are going to be back, but every month we have a girls talk, and every month we have a guys talk. So if y'all want, any topics about these things, y'all can comment and we can maybe talk about what it is that you all want to hear. All right, do a little prayer. Oh, I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank Ilse also for participating. I hope Ilse is going to get this game this time. But, yeah. So, Belkiria's going to do a little prayer in Spanish.